All right, let's talk about something you do, oh, I don't know, thousands of times a day. Every single day. It's so common, so automatic, you probably never even think about it. But what if I told you that hitting inside this simple little action is a totally startling secret of physics? Yeah, I'm talking about walking. You're probably thinking, I know how to walk, you just put one foot in front of the other, right? Well, as it turns out, it's a whole lot weirder than that. Because what if I told you that every single step you take is actually a tiny little drama of balance? That with every stride you are flirting with disaster only to save yourself at the very last second. So let's get into this secret. To really get what's going on, you have to completely flip how you think about walking. It's not really about moving forward. It's actually about preventing a fall. The forward motion, that's just a side effect of this constant, beautifully controlled crisis. And this brings us to the core idea that pretty much changes everything. It's called controlled falling, and, it's exactly what it sounds like. That's right, I'm not kidding. Every time you walk, you are, in a very real sense, falling. You literally tip yourself over, let gravity start to pull you down, and then bam, you catch yourself with your other foot. And you do this over and over and over again. So, how does it work? Well, it's basically this three-part process. First, you've got the lean. You just shift your weight, your center of gravity, a little bit forward. That kicks off step 2, the fall. For just a split second, you're totally unstable. And then, right before you'd smash your face on the pavement, you get to step 3, the catch. Your other leg just swings forward, plants itself, and creates a brand new base. And there you go, you've just taken one step. And look, this isn't some newfangled idea. This is classic science. Professor Paul Burt nailed it over 100 years ago. He said walking is just a series of forward fallings punctually forestalled. I love that. Punctually forestalled, it's just a fancy way of saying you stop yourself right on time. Okay, so if walking is this constant dance with gravity, this endless cycle of falling and catching, what happens when we pick up the pace? What about running? It's a really good question, isn't it? Is running just falling faster? Well, not exactly. The difference is actually pretty huge, and it all comes down to what's happening with your feet. Okay, so here's the absolute key difference. When you walk, no matter what, you've always got at least one foot on the ground. Simple. But when you run, you push off with so much force that for a brief, incredible moment, both of your feet are in the air at the same time. Seriously, this is the magic of running. It's not falling at all, it's actually a tiny, repeatable, human-powered flight. For just an instant, you are literally flying. So a good way to think about it is this. Running is basically just a series of really energetic hops. You launch yourself off one foot, sail through the air, and then land on the other one. Now hold on, there is one more fascinating piece to this whole puzzle. We know walking is super efficient because it uses gravity, right? But that doesn't mean it's free. Nope, there's this hidden energy cost that most of us never, ever think about. You'd think that once you get going on a nice flat path, you're basically just coasting. But your body is actually doing a surprising amount of work against gravity, even on the flattest road you can find. And the amount of work it's doing is about 1/15. But 1/15 of what exactly? This is wild. The energy you use to walk a certain distance is the exact same amount of energy it would take to lift your entire body 1/15 of that distance straight up into the air. Why? Because with every single step, your center of gravity actually goes up and then down, just a tiny bit. You're constantly doing these tiny little push-ups against gravity, and all that work really adds up. So let's put all this together, because I have a feeling that after this, you are never going to walk the same way again. So what are the big takeaways here? Well, first, remember that walking is basically a controlled fall. You're just falling and catching yourself over and over. Second, running isn't falling, it's a series of little airborne hops. The huge difference is whether both feet ever leave the ground. And finally, don't forget that even simple walking has that hidden energy cost. So the next time you're out for a walk, just think about it. Feel that little lean forward, that split second where you're off balance, and that solid catch. You're not just walking, you're a master of controlled falling. How cool is that?